Welcome to the Vue Dialog tutorial. Using the Syncfusion Vue Dialog component, you can create a dialog box to collect input from users, warn them about errors, or confirm their decisions. In this video, I will show you how to add the dialog component to a Vue app, and configure a few of its features, like adding a header and footer to the dialog, dragging, resizing, and positioning the dialog, and animating it. I will start the Vue application creation process using the Vue v command. Make sure you have installed the latest versions of Vue and Node.js. I'll use Visual Studio Code as my editor and show the output in the Chrome browser. To create a project in Vue, open Visual Studio Code and type the npm create v-latest command. I name the app my Vue app. Next, choose Vue as the framework and JavaScript as the variant. A Vue project is created. I navigate to the newly created Vue app and install the required dependencies using the npm install command. Now the application is configured with the default settings of a Vue project. To use the dialog component, I type the command npm install at Syncfusion /ej2 Vue popups -- save to install the package and its dependencies. Next, I must register the trial license key to use Syncfusion components. I open the main.js file and import the register license method from the Syncfusion ej2 base package. Using this method, I register the trial license key. For instructions on how to generate a trial key, refer to the link in this video's description. To add the dialog component, I open the app Vue file and remove the default code. Then I import the dialog component from the Syncfusion Vue popups package. To access the CSS styles of the dialog component, in the style tag, I import the material theme CSS references. Inside the template section, I include the EJS dialog tag and set the height and width properties with appropriate values. I save the changes and run the application using the npm run dev command. The Vue dialog is rendered without any header and content. Now I will show you how to add a header and content to the dialog component. To do that, I am going to add the content and header properties inside the EJS dialog tag. I set the header value to dialog, and the content value to this is a dialog with content. Here you can see the dialog displayed with the header and content. Next, I will show you how to add a button to the footer of the dialog. Here, I append a cancel button to the footer of the dialog. I define an array called buttons and add the button model property. Within this property, I set the content as cancel. Then I assign this object to the buttons property of the dialog component. In the style tag, I import the material theme CSS references for buttons. See now, the dialog is displayed with the cancel button, but the dialog does not close after clicking the cancel button. So I need to write the code to close the dialog when I click the cancel button. I define a variable named visible and initialize it to true using Vue's ref function. Then I define the dialog button click function and set the visible value as false. I add the click event in the button's object to change the dialog visibility when I click the cancel button, and set the value as dialog button click. Next, I add the visible property to the dialog tag and assign the value visible to it. The dialog will close when I click the cancel button now. If I want to close the dialog using the close icon, I need to use the show close icon property and set its value to true. In the dialog, you can see the close icon. When I click it, the dialog closes. Now I want to show the dialog again after I close it. So I define the button element and set the button text as Open Dialog. Then I set the class name as eButton. I add the click event and assign the value handle click. After that, I define a handle click function and set the visible value to true. This will change the dialog visibility when the button is clicked. See now, after I close the dialog, I click the Open Dialog button and the dialog opens again. By default, the dialog is displayed in the center of the page. To change this position, I need to define the object position and assign the X and Y property values for the position. For the X property, I can set the value to left, center, right, or any offset value. For the Y property, I can set the value to top, center, bottom, or any offset value. I want to render the dialog at the bottom left, so I set the X property value to left and the Y property value to bottom. Now I assign this object to the position property. See now, the dialog is displayed at the bottom left of the page. Next, I will show you how to enable dragging and resizing for the dialog. To allow users to drag the dialog, I use the Allow Dragging property and set its value to true. To allow users to resize the dialog, I use the Enable Resize property and set its value to true. Look, I can drag and resize the dialog now. To support resizing the dialog in all directions, I define the object resize handles and set the value as all. Then I assign this object to the resize handles property. You can now resize the dialog in all directions. Now I am going to explain how to animate the dialog component. I define an object animation with the effect property, and I set the value as flip X up. I want to show the dialog in the center, so I change a position X and Y values to center. I assign the animation object to the animation settings property. Look, the dialog is displayed with the flip X up effect. Notice that I can interact with the output page when the dialog is open. To restrict this interaction, I use the isModal property and set its value to true. Now, interaction with the output page is restricted. In this video, I have shown you how to add the Syncfusion Vue Dialog component to a Vue application and configure a few of its features. If you want to try out the example used in this video, you can download it from the GitHub link in this video's description. I have also shared a link in the description where you can learn about obtaining a free license key to use our Vue components through our community license if you are eligible. Thank you for watching this video. If you found it helpful, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel.